In this session, we discuss few important points of Power Query Editor, like what are the windows available in Power Query Editor and few more options, how to get the data, and related to query and windows we will discuss in this class. First of all, I want to download the data from Excel workbook to Power Query Editor. First, I have to open Power BI desktop, and whenever I open Power BI desktop, now my Power BI desktop is appear like this. And in this get data, I want to get data from Excel workbook. So I click on Excel workbook and I select the location. Yes, this is my location and this is the data. Yes. Now this data from your Excel workbook, it is getting downloaded into Power BI desktop. Before entering into Power BI desktop, this pop-up is opened and now data is workbook. From data workbook, we try to download the data. So in that workbook, again, it contains three sheets. One is HR and the next one is sales and the next one is students data. If you select this, see, you can able to view the preview as well. So again, I am selecting second one and third one. Now three sheets are selected, and if you observe in the down suggested tables, automatically it detects any data in table format and it displays as automatic tables. So now let's we discuss about this points and HR sales and student data. Now if you click on load, directly it goes to Power BI desktop, but I don't want to go into Power BI desktop. I click on transform data. Whenever you click on transform data, then now our data is loaded into Power Query Editor. If you observe this, see in the down here two windows, Power BI desktop is different and Power Query editor is different. For example, your Excel data, if this is your Excel data, to create visualization, we have to load in into Power BI desktop. But before loading into Power BI desktop, if you want to do any transformations to your data like adding rows, adding columns, changing data types, or applying anything group or ungroup, these kind of things. So we load the data into Power Query Editor. So now your Excel data, if you want to upload directly also, you can upload. If you want to directly upload, you can directly upload to Power BI desktop. Or if you want any transformations, then only, for example, yeah, directly you can from Power BI desktop to Excel also you can connect. Or if you want, you can also from Power Query Editor also we can connect to Excel data. I mean to say from Excel data it is actually this data should be yes. Now this is perfect. From Excel directly you can load into Power Query Editor. Okay. Or from Excel directly you can load into Power BI desktop. Okay. Or one more is first we load into Power Query Editor. From Power Query Editor we load into Power BI desktop. In Power Query Editor we do transformations. We do transformations. So first from Excel, data is loaded into Power Query Editor. From Power Query Editor, if you want, you can do any transformations, and finally you can load into Power BI desktop. And one more is, if you don't want any transformations, for example, your data is clean and you don't want to change anything, in that case, directly you can load to Power BI desktop. But where your data is stored, your data is stored in Excel. So, for example, if your Excel location is on desktop, if your Excel location is on desktop, you should not change the or delete, or you cannot rename this file when you are working with Power BI desktop, because from your Excel from desktop again it is loaded to Power Query Editor or Power BI desktop. So it is very important, if you delete any data in Excel, again, those changes are reflected in the Power BI desktop as well in the Power Query editor also. And one more thing is, for example, your Excel data size is 100 GB, and whenever your main storage location is in Excel only. But when we download this 100 GB data to Power Query editor, it is compressed to 10% of the actual size. So from 100 GB, it is converted to 10 GB, and it is stored in the columnar format. And here Power Query Editor performs ETL operations. ETL means E stands for extraction and T stands for transformation and L stands for loading. And Power Query Editor, it works based on M language, which we also call it as a mashup language. All the ETL operations, extractions, we extract from Excel, or we extract from any flat file, or we extract from any database, or we extract from any cloud data warehouse like Snowflake or Azure or GCP. And yeah, and we download, we extract, and then we transform if we want any changes, and finally we load into Power BI desktop. This is completely ETL. Power Query Editor does the ETL operations. Power Query works based on M language, mashup language, and in Power Query Editor, data is stored in the form of columnar format. And in Power Query Editor, data is compressed to 10% of the actual size. Fine. Now, 10% of the, yeah, 10% of the actual size. Now, now, yes, now our data from Excel workbook, we loaded into Power Query Editor. Whenever we loaded into Power Query Editor, and this is the view which is, displayed. And here, if you observe, here you have a three windows: query window and properties window, and one more is applied steps. What is query window? What is query window? And what is properties window? And what is applied steps? Query window displays all the queries. In Excel, we call it as a worksheets. Inside of the workbook, we contain multiple worksheets. For example, see, the sheet name is index and the sheet name is sheet 1. So here we call it as a queries. This query name is HR, and this query name is sales, and this query name is student data. And whenever you select HR, here properties window is displaying name as HR, and you can also rename this by using this property window. For example, if you click on sales, see, it is displayed as a sales. The name is displaying, and if you want, you can rename it here through properties window. And now, again, this data is loaded. This preview may be up to 5 years old, 5 days old. I'm sorry. If you refresh, which means if you do any changes in your Excel workbook, so it is reflected. Those changes are reflected in this data. I mean to say, for example, here In sales, the customer name, the starting customer name is Ramesh Kumar. So now what do? I go to the location of the file wherever I have. I open that file, and in sales here I have Ramesh Kumar. This Ramesh Kumar I change as Kranti. I save it, I close it. And now if I come here again, it is still displaying as Ramesh Kumar only. Why? Because you did not refresh. You did not refresh the Power Query editor. So click here, refresh all. See, now it is again changed as Kranti because your master data, your main data has some changes. So whenever you refresh, that is again refreshed. Fine. And now this is the query window. Whatever the query you select here in this, you can able to see the data. And in properties data, we can change the and properties data displays the active query and which query we are working, and you can also rename here. Fine. What about this applied steps? For example, now I don't want this. In this I have statistics, math, science, English. Total, I have six columns. From this six columns, I don't want totals. I don't want serial number column. I want to delete this. If you observe here in the applied steps in the starting, I have source. If you click on source, see this source is saying from where this workbook is derived. This is derived C users OneDrive desktop and desktop. This is from a file called data xlsx. From that it is derived. This is the source, and now these are the, and whenever we get the data from Excel workbook, these are the four by default options whatever we get. Now if I do any changes, for example, I don't want serial number column. So what do? In home tab in Excel, whenever you press alt, even each and every key is highlighted by the respective keywords. In the same way here also in Power Query editor, these respective keywords are highlighted. See, if I want to go for home menu, just click on home. See, choose columns or remove columns. Remove columns are highlighted by L. I want to remove columns. Already I have selected serial number column. So now I press enter because already it is selected. See, remove column. That column is removed. But here if you see removed columns, whatever the actions you are doing, it is getting noticed here. It is recording every action. So now one more option here in remove columns only, we have one more option called as remove other columns. It means nothing but apart from this column, other columns if you want to remove, for example, remove columns, alt H, and remove columns is highlighted by L, and then remove other columns. Down arrow I press and I press enter. See, now other columns are removed because apart from selected column, I want to delete the remaining columns. In that case, I go for removed other columns. But here my main motto is to explain about you the applied steps. See, we have removed other columns, it is recorded. If you delete this, if you want to go back, I mean to say like Control Z, if you want to do any if you want to perform undo operations, in this case, yes. And again, if you delete this, yes, this is the starting point of our data. So whatever the steps you apply here, those steps are recorded. And apart from that, if you want to do any undo operations like Control Z, that you can do in the applied steps. So now now what is get data? By using get data option, we get data from multiple sources. So this is completed. And queries window. What is queries window? Queries window displays the queries. How many queries we have. And next, properties window. What is properties window? Properties window display the active query. And here you can also rename. and below that we have one more window which is applied steps. So in applied steps, whatever the operations we perform or actions we do, everything is recorded in applied steps. If you want to go back like undo operations, you can press Ctrl Z here. Sorry, you can close this. So it is changed. Fine. Now, now query is loaded. After, for example, I go to HR. In this HR, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Fine. Here, if I right click on this, after doing transformations, we have to load to the Power Query editor. Before that, before that, for example, here I have employee ID, first name, last name. I don't want this first name and last name. I want to remove these columns. So select this, remove other columns, remove other columns. Yes, columns are removed. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I want to delete only those columns. So deleted this step, first name and last name, remove columns. Just click on remove columns. Yes, columns are removed and department is fine, date of joining is fine, and then salary, age I don't want, and gender also I don't want, location, mail ID, I don't want anything apart from manager ID. So I have selected those columns and I click on remove columns. Now only those columns are removed. So now I have done my transformations with this. So here, if you observe, see here, removed columns is recorded. And now if I want to load this data to Power BI desktop, if you click here, close and apply. If you click on close and apply, this Power Query editor is closed and data is loaded into the Power BI desktop. If you click on apply, your Power Query editor, it is not closed, but data is loaded into Power BI desktop. If you directly close, your Power Query editor is closed and you don't even get any transformations, whatever you have done. Now, again, if you right click on this, copy, you can copy the query and you can also paste the query. For example, whenever you download any data, instead of working directly on the same query, normally you can do this copy and you can paste. See, now HR2, then rename HR working. For example, I am working on this data. So this is my rename. This is my HR master data. So without getting any disturbance to the original data, you can copy paste the query and you can work on it. And one more is if you right click copy, paste, and you can delete the query and you can rename the query. And what about this enable load? Enable load means, for example, here I have a four queries: HR master, sales, student data, and one more is HR working. For example, here I have a HR master, and the second one is sales, and the third one is student data, and the next one is HR working. So in this, you know how to copy query, and pasting, and you can delete the query and you can rename the query. And one more is and duplicate query and reference query. If you observe this, duplicate query and reference query, and before that enable load include in report refresh. And one more is here enable load include in report refresh. What is this enable load? See, whenever you click on close and apply or apply, this data is loaded into Power BI desktop. But if you disable this load, for example, here this is not enabled. Right click, this is not enabled, disabled. And if you observe, even this is also in italic. It is in inclined font. But when you have enable, that is it is not in the inclined format. So if you apply now, normally if you apply, total 4 queries has to load in the Power BI desktop. But if you apply, only one query is uploaded into Power BI desktop. Yeah. Now I opened Power BI desktop. If you see, only one query is loaded into Power BI desktop. So this is the, yeah, because you did not enable. If you don't enable, then your data is not loaded. Why we use this? Because if you don't want, for example, you want to load only one query, after that one query, because whenever you, without doing transformations, if you try to add all the queries at a time, performance is decreased. So in that case, we use this. And apart from this, include in report refresh. Whenever you refresh, previously in HR master, you know in sales, I guess, yeah, Ramesh Kumar, we changed as Kranti, because your report refresh is enabled. Your report refresh is enabled. So when you disable this, automatically even you don't get the refresh the data also. Include in report refresh and enable data. This is the use of those points. And yes, I click on enable data, enable data. So this is very important. And if you enable, then only it is loaded. And even report refresh also, whenever you click, then if you refresh, then only the changes appears here. And again, yes, this two is over. And one more option is duplicate query and reference query. What is duplicate query and what is reference query? For example, here I have a data 2. Here also I have data 2. Now what I do, this 2 I copied here and I pasted. But I'm sorry, only one numerical 2 I have. This 2 here I have copy and pasted. And here what I am doing, I am not copying. What I do, just I take a reference. So here, this is I have copy and pasted. But here, this is I have taken reference. Now, instead of this two, here I change it as a Power BI. In reference, it is getting changes, but here it is not getting any changes, because that we have copied and pasted. So even in the case of query also, you can make a duplicate query and you can make a reference query. If in duplicate query, for example, if you do any transformations in the master query, the same changes is also reflects in the reference query. And if you take duplicate query, it equals to copy paste. You don't get any changes. That is duplicate query and reference query. And this is move to group up down. Okay, you can create, for example, here if you want to create any folders. Okay, if you want to create any folders, new group. Okay, what is the group name? I am giving group name as students data. Click OK. See, now student data is a group. Now if you want to drag this, you can change that student data into, and you can move up. or move to group. If you click on move to group, it asks which group you want to move. Okay, student data group it is displaying. For example, one more group, one more folder I will create. New new group, sorry. New group. This group name is I take as a HR. Just I click OK. See now HR master and HR working. I move to HR group. See it is displaying in HR how many queries we have. We have two queries and other queries are otherwise I create one more group. That group name I name as sales group. I click OK. And if you want, you can also add description. Yes, I have one query in sales group. I have two queries in HR. I have one query in student data. I don't have any other queries. Like this, you can create groups. You can move the queries by move up, down. So now see here in Power BI desktop, I have only one query because previously total in three queries, two queries I disabled the loading into Power BI desktop, but again I changed that into the original position. Now if I click on this apply, see all the queries now loaded into initially also this it rotates like this, but if you disable this query it won't enable to, it is not loaded into Power BI desktop. But now see if you go and observe here, all the queries are all the queries are loaded into Power BI desktop. Of course, again, if you come to Power BI desktop, you have here multiple, views like here report view and a table view and model view, and this is the DAX view. And recently this is added TMDL view. We will discuss about these all views also. But if you want to see the data, and you have to click on the table view. Whenever you click on table view, and if you click on that respective query, it displays. See, if you click on HR working, then it displays HR working data. If you click on sales, it displays sales data. If you click on student data, it is displaying student data. So after doing transformations in Power Query Editor, we have to click on apply or close and apply based on your requirement. New source means, again, if you want to download the data from any other data sources like databases or cloud or flat files or Excel workbook or web, anything, you can use new source. And recent sources, you will get the recent workbooks or files, whatever. And by using this enter data manually also, you can enter data into Power BI through this option. For example, if you click on enter data, column name we have to give. Column name, I am giving serial number 1, serial number, sorry. And column 2, employee names. And column 3, you can press tab, so it goes to the next column. And column 3, I give salary. And column 4, I give branch. Now serial number 1, employee name, I am giving Suresh. Salary, I give 10,000. And he is working for Hyderabad location, serial number 2. And this is a Ramesh, 20,000. And for Chennai location, and this is 3. And Naresh is 40,000. And Bangalore location, 4. Niru, 50,000, working for Hyderabad location. Srini is 1 lakh, working for US location. And sixth one, Chinni, 2 lakhs, for UK. Just like this also you can create. For example, if I click on OK, see now this by default name is name. Now I rename this as a rename employee data. For example, employee data. And in first row, if you observe, see column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, it is displaying, but it has to display serial number as a header, employee names as a header, salary as a header, branch as a header, it has to display. So your first row has to be have as a heading. In that case, we have an option first row as a header. In home menu, if you see this, use first row as a header. If you click on source here, see binary, JSON, document, binary, decompress, binary form. Because we did not download this from any of the sources, just here we created manually. So now what I am doing is first row I promote as a header. So use first row as headers. Use headers as first row. First we will see this. Use first row as headers. Normally in first row we have a data. What is that? Serial number, employee name, serial, salary and branch. But now if you click on this, are you sure to want insert a step? Inserting an intermediate step may affect the subsequent steps, which could cause you query to break. Insert. See, now serial number as header and employee names as header. And here, if you see this, see promoted headers. Change the type. First one is it is promoted as a headers. Fine. This is the transformations we have done. Now, now, yes. You know what is close and apply from Power Query? After doing transformations, you have to do close and apply or close. If you close transformations, it won't affect. Okay, and new source from where you can and recent sources also and enter data manually entering data, copy a query, paste a query, and rename a query we have seen. And enable load include in refresh, report refresh we have seen. And duplicate query and reference query. Duplicate query means like copy paste and reference query and move to group, move up and move down. Okay. And we have seen one more option. What is that? First row as a headers. And yes, in home tab and again, yes, choose columns and go to column. I'll show you what is choose columns and what is go to column. For example, if I come to HR working sheet, if I come to HR working sheet, choose columns means whatever the columns, if you want to display, only those columns are selected. For example, choose columns. Now all the columns list are appeared here. I want only employee ID and department and job title. I click OK. See, only those three columns are selected. This is called choose columns option. Choose columns. Only choose columns means whatever the columns, if you want to display, only those columns are appeared. And what about go to columns? For example, again I remove the previous step. Now I have my entire data. Even now I have so many columns. I have multiple columns, but in this multiple columns, I want to go to a particular column. For example, go to column. Which column you want to go to? I want to go for manager ID column. Here, if you observe in the back side in Power Query editor, I am not able to view manager ID. So I select manager ID and I click OK. See, now it is directly goes to manager ID column. This is the difference between choose columns and one more option is go to column. And in Power Query Editor in Home tab again, remove columns and remove other columns. Already we have seen what is remove columns and what is remove other columns. Remove columns, remove other columns. If you select a column and if you want to remove only those particular column, then we go for remove column. Apart from selecting column, if you want to remove other column, then we go for remove other columns. Next, in the same way, keep top rows, keep bottom rows, keep duplicate rows. Again, remove rows, same like remove columns, remove top rows. For example, how many rows you want to delete? If I want to delete, if you see here, I have total 12 rows. No, I delete bottom rows, remove rows, bottom rows. How many? I want to delete 2 rows. I just click OK. You can also delete rows like this. Top rows, bottom rows. If you want to delete duplicate rows, you can. If you want to delete the rows where you are having errors, you can. And you can remove blank rows, duplicate rows, all these options. And keep rows in the same way. Keep top rows, keep top bottom rows, and keep range of rows. Keep range of rows means from 1 to 5 you want to keep. Just click on that first row and number of rows, how many you want to. Okay, click OK. Means keep rows and remove rows. And remove rows. Keep rows means you can keep, and removing means deleting the rows. Next, use first row as headers we have seen. Okay, and data type. And data type. Okay, we will see this in the next sessions. Thank you.
If you really like the content, please like and subscribe for more videos.